Well, here's another lovely insight from Birdsight, and it basically revolves around different kinds of genre conventions and tools and everything you can use, and it's just caused a cascade effect. But Mr. Misha does bring up a very good point. Dear authors of genre fiction, I really don't need 40,000 words of angst and emotional navel-gazing in my action-adventure stories. Honestly, if a main character is being chased by giant scorpions, I'm going to care about him, even if I don't know why his wife left him. So, that's the biggest thing right there. It's like everybody's caught up in like, this is the only way you can do things. This is the only way you can do characters. This is the only way you could depict whatever X, Y, or Z. You have to be more open to what you want to do. And me, I don't want internal drama llama, navel gazing, blah de blah. You know, I'm tired of that because most of postmodernism is navel gazing, focusing on the internal factors of the character, and they think that's the only true and tried way of doing things, and it's getting tiresome. And Mr. Misha does further elaborate. Modern movies are even worse. I can't fight off the zombie horde right now. I'm too busy having flashbacks of my multiple failed relationships. And yeah, that's true. That excuse me about the cough, but yeah, that does happen. Even though the cough is almost gone. Woo! I'll link all this stuff below, but yeah, Mr. Daniel Davis is like, Mr. Misha is talking specifically about action-adventure stories. It's a genre within its own established, with own established conventions and tropes, many of which modern writers ignore in favor of angst. Yes, they get on the angst fest where it's like, what this guy's saying, yeah, the part of the problem is that the angst gets conflated with serious storytelling. And we have this strange idea that to be believable, your hero has to be tortured or broken in some way. But the truth is, your hero just has to be strongly characterized. Characterization is action-adventure in its own thing. And he gives an example of, like, if you're doing a slow burn psychological thriller, then yeah, that's when you do the whole internal drama llama where you find out what makes a character tick, that sort of thing. But it's okay to have other options. It's just that most people get caught up of like, what's in vogue now? What will get me tons of money now? What will basically, I gotta jump on the bandwagon of like lit RPG now, or I have to jump on the bandwagon of erotica now. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I'm more in the business of offering myself a way out. Which, that's what Uplift Protocol is for me. It's a way out. It's a way for me to escape to what I want to escape to, rather than just dwelling on, like, shit I can't change. Like most of the craziness that's happening in, various different political spheres and everything else. And it's just like, yeah, there's just some days where it's just like, I want to leave that whole world behind and be like, bye-bye. I want to take a break for a few hours, so that's why I try to read indies that let me genuinely escape. And those with more of a pulp mentality are providing that escape for me. It's just the way it is. Like, the latest literary classical darling does not do it for me. The books like 1984 don't do it for me. Most, like 95% of the YA fiction coming out nowadays does not do it for me. Because a lot of YA fiction is the internal navel gazing, will they, won't they, and basically a whole lot of tropes meshed together that I absolutely detest. You're not gonna win everybody over. You can try to make a consumer cake, to where you can try to tap in to whatever the popular shit is for nowadays, but even with that, you're still not gonna get as many readers as you think. And when it comes to certain kinds of genre writing, you will have to cater to what that particular genre audience does expect. But you can also be like the pulps and be like, okay, I want a wheelhouse made of, say, space fantasy, blended with a little bit of cosmic horror, and then blended again with some superhero antics. You know, you just got to find what kind of thing you want to do with your writing. And a little bit more on this particular thread from Mr. Davis. Action adventure story relies on external momentum. It can't afford to waste time on that kind of slow burn characterization. So instead of peeling the metaphorical onion of the hero's psyche, the action adventure story uses characterization through action. Yes, and that's something that I'm preferring more often nowadays. I don't want that slow burn psychological kind of like internalized horror or musing about the universe and that sort of thing. That's even the reason why I'm not even reading too much H.P. Lovecraft and things like that. You know, the existential dread and a few other things more along that setup, just because I genuinely do want a break from it. And that's okay. Just because somebody says X, Y, or Z is really popular and you should do things that way, doesn't mean you have to. Every writer is going to try to get something different out of what they want. Some people love the internal drama llama and the constant navel gazing. Me, I personally hate that right now. I can't stand it. When I was a teenager, well, maybe it appealed to me a little bit more, and even in my early 20s, but it's like, nowadays I just want simple action adventure oriented fun. I like the fact that the pulps get to the point and they don't overstay their welcome. There are people out there that love door stoppers. I will make an exception for some certain kinds of door stoppers, provided it's in a genre setting that I'm enjoying. You know, like Galaxy Ascendant. But even Galaxy Ascendant's pace is pretty dang quick. He gets from point A to point B without much wasted, you know, internal monologuing or, you know, woe is me kind of setups. Even though most of the books are between 400 and 500 pages, maybe a little bit more on the outside with certain books, but he has so much going on that he needed that length just to get the whole story out. But not everybody can build a 500-page book and make it go by like it feels like it's 250 pages, you know? A lot of content put in those Galaxy Ascendant books. Whole lot of content. And Mr. Davis does use Solomon Kane as an example. Like, yeah, with a lot of the serials and old pulps, a lot of their heroes, you basically got to jump right in on the action, and through their actual output, through whatever the character was doing, not really what they're saying, their actual actions spoke louder than whatever words they had, even though some of the words were pretty dang good. The most important aspect of Solomon Kane, like, yes, he's the kind of man who will make and keep a vow to a stranger. You don't have to go into a big bad soliloquy of his backstory. You don't have to see like, oh, he has 10,000 skeletons in his closet or something like that. If you want something more like that, then probably read the Elric books. Again, like the Elric of I'm probably gonna mess that part up, but the Melmone stuff, like, if you want a kind of like anti-hero or that kind of setup, then yeah, probably Elric is more your cup of tea. Not everything will be everybody's cup of tea. You can sometimes with books and other mediums like overlap with people, but you're not always going to capture everything everybody wants. It's just impossible. And the truth of the matter even with Upload Protocol is it's 100% a project that is made and generated to appeal to me, the writer. 100%. Whatever I like is going into Uplift Protocol. You know, with how the story beats go, with how the character actions go, the lack of internal drama llama. And for some people, it wouldn't be realistic enough, but see, that's the thing. Me, the writer, I don't care about our world's level of realism when it comes to my space fantasy with Christian underpinnings and cosmic horror elements. Um, and the cosmic horror elements mostly come from external factors, not so much the characters wondering about their place in the universe. Every once in a while, some of the characters might ask themselves, like, what am I doing? But I don't have them dwell on any kind of internal factors. It's just not something I personally want. And when it comes to writing, you'll discover more and more of what you want if you just keep putting words to the page. And if you just keep reading things that you enjoy, or you're like, oh, I like how this particular show, comic, or book implemented this kind of, say, theme or character moment, so I'll integrate that with my own work. That's all you've really got to do. That's the only really big writing advice I can keep giving people, is keep writing and integrate stuff that you genuinely like. One person's trope and treasure is another person's complete trash fire that they want to throw into the sun. There's just really no middle ground when it comes to that. Have a good day, everybody.